very good to be with you this morning. I find that many times the Lord speaks to us in ways we don't always understand. So one of the tests this morning for me was when I looked into the mirror, and so we'll go there for you. When you looked into the mirror this morning, what did you see? What did you see? Did you find that it was a bad hair day for you? Or did you find it was a bad face day for you? In the end, as we look in the mirror, it is the moment for us to truly see Christ. We are called to be disciples of Jesus. St. Francis of Assisi, that's the door opening and the door closing, everyone. You've seen that before, haven't you? Jesus just came in. Hi, Lord. Good to see you. And the Lord speaks to us in those kinds of ways. It's the simple things. And whether it was a bad hair day or a bad face day, it doesn't matter. The Lord is with you. And we respond, the Lord be with you. You got the idea. That's the hope, that the Lord is with me too, as the Lord is with you. St. Francis of Assisi, we celebrate today. He lived on the 12th and 13th century. Father Tony was not there. Nor was I. Father George was. And St. Francis, he was from a rich family. And he could have had all the wealth he wanted. But he found himself challenged really by this gospel. And the Lord Jesus saying, follow me. To him, directly. And that changed his life. So that's really the first statement of the gospel for each of us. Jesus is saying to every single one of us, follow me. Follow me. And so the question becomes, initially for us, do we receive the question? Do we let the question truly touch our lives? Now, St. Francis could have said, no, I won't. And he had a lot of fears in his life, and one of them was with people that had leprosy, which is a skin disease, a terrible skin disease, which in modern times now has been virtually wiped out. And he found that he couldn't, if there was a leper near, he couldn't approach them at all. And so in one of his moments of life, the Lord appeared to him as a leper. And the leper asked for help. And initially he was going to leave and run away and ride off, but he realized in that moment that something special was happening. And he chose to approach the leper and gave him a hug. Now that for us is really a profound moment. The stuff that really scares us, the stuff that really keeps us from being disciples of Jesus, the stuff that keeps us from saying, yes, Lord, I will follow you, is the stuff in the end that really scares us. And then St. Francis, with the change of heart that was beginning to happen to him, found himself giving his coat, because it was a cold, cold day, to the leper. And it was in that moment that Jesus revealed himself to him, that he realized it was the Lord. It was the Lord. And the Lord was calling him to much more, just as the Lord is calling each of you to much more. He's inviting you to follow him, as he's invited me to follow him, and each of the priests that are here, and the deacons, all of your teachers. He's inviting you to follow him now, not necessarily wait. Now, He's saying, follow me, follow me. And that's why I said earlier, it doesn't matter whether it's a bad face day or a bad hair day, the Lord loves you. The Lord cares for you, and the Lord is with you right now, each of you. And He is inviting you to follow Him. And to follow Him no matter what. That becomes the real question. You know, each of us, and you're in school now, and that's where you need to be. You need to be studying, and you're trying to better yourself, and eventually, hopefully, get a good job, and be able to support yourself and family, or to be someone called to follow Christ as a priest, a sister, a brother, a deacon, a married person, a single person. All those are wonderful vocations we are called to. But the first step has to take place. Hearing Jesus say, follow me. And our willingness to really follow Him, to let the love of Christ enter our lives so that the love of Christ flows from us every day. Your call to discipleship is now, in this Mass. And so part of the question becomes, how can you follow Jesus Christ today? And so we come to what He asked us to do. And He asked us to love God with our whole heart and soul and mind and strength, and love our neighbor as ourselves. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands if you prayed today. But actually, let me do that. Who prayed today? All your hands should go up, folks, because we just started praying in the Mass. Now, the adults are not sure they prayed yet, so everybody's hand up. Everybody prayed today. Everybody prayed today. Because we entered the Mass. And so we turned our hearts to God first, right out of the gate. And then the second great commandment He gave us is to love one another as ourselves. And so we come back to that mirror moment, and to love ourselves, even though it's a bad hair day or a bad face day, to love ourselves. And we take that love and we share it. So who in your class needs you today? Who in your class needs you today? And by the way, your teachers need you today. It might be good to say, thank you, Mrs. Ooh, or thank you, Sister Ooh. That's her name, by the way. And then when you go home, who in your family needs you to love them, to care for them, to spend time with them? Could be a brother or sister, could be a mother, father, grandparent, guardian, whoever it is. You're called as a disciple to love them in a very special way. St. Francis of Assisi heard Jesus say, follow me. And He gave His life to Christ. That's what Jesus is asking of us today. Are you willing to give your life to Christ today? And are you willing to be a sign of His love today? With your classmates, your teachers, and all those that you will meet today. That's who He calls us to be.